Righty, well, good morning, dear ones. We are SOTU, and this is SOTUesday for the 9th day of May in 2017. The title of this little soliloquy is Choice is Yours. But what is that choice that you are being faced with as a humanity? We have often said the dynamic ultimately is that you are being asked who is it that you are going to be. But we would suggest to you that it is more, that there is more involved than just that question being asked. Because each of you, in your own way, are being asked personally, through the dynamic of individual connection with your soul, individual connection with your life force, whatever you would wish to call it to be, individual connection with spirit, with the divine, and even if you don't believe in spirit or the divine, there is still that dynamic of connection to life and the desire for life to continue in that sort of way. And so as physical beings, as a physical species called earthly humanity, for want of a better term, you are being faced with a dynamic of change. And be it a change that is astrologically described as the movement from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and the energetic changes in that dynamic, or the talk of rapture and certain people being ascended, saved, but from who? From yourselves? So there is so much of a portent of change that is in the dynamics of your reality. But what is the change that you are really being asked? And if you understand it from a point of view of consciousness, which we attempt to give you, that from the point of view of consciousness, you are being asked to make a choice. Certainly so, the reflections of your reality and the external pressures that are shaping the dynamics of your consensus reality, creating a dynamic, a situation where there is constantly huge amounts of fear being pumped into your populations, and that dynamic of the reaction to fear is leading to reptilian brain responses of fight or flight, of black and white, of good and bad, of either or, of you name it. Anything that can be used to fractionalize you, anything that can be used to divide you, seem to be coming to the dynamics of your reality now. It's all asking you to step back and to see yourselves as who you really are, as to begin to understand that you have a position, almost a mechanical position, purpose in the dynamics of incarnating in a physical human body. And in the dynamic of that choice of incarnation, you choose to participate in a great dance of co-creation. And that great dance of co-creation right now is pushing you in a direction, is giving you one problem after another, one threat of war after another, one, what shall we say, disillusion of illusion. Because so many of you are being becoming more and more aware of the dynamics that are being done in your name. and those dynamics do not resonate with who you really are, you have allowed less than 10% of those of you in your world that have no empathy, 10% of people with no empathy you have allowed to run your world. And it's 10% of the entire population. That means that 90% of you are generally live and let live kinds of people and are happy just being able to live your life. However, those of you that you have allowed to be in, those in your world that you have allowed to be in control, are taking you down a path that has nothing to do with spiritual growth, that has only to do with greed and short-term gain. A dynamic that is replicated through the dynamics of reptilian thinking, your reptilian brain, of fight or flight, of either or, of good or bad. However, you are not reptiles, at least most of you aren't. And so it is time to begin to utilize your reasoning mind. And your reasoning mind is connected to the dynamics of your emotions which you have been taught not to trust. Well, we are telling you it is time for you to begin to step back from your reality, step back from your life, and begin to learn to trust that dynamic of emotion. To begin to learn to trust when you think you are being told a lie. When you begin to question the commonalities of your daily reality and begin to realize that you are responsible for deciding whether you will allow things to be done in your name, or you will say, be willing to stand up for your live and let live beliefs and begin to utilize that as a foundation for a new way of doing, a new way of being that is beyond competition and comparison, that is beyond the dynamic of survival of the fittest, that is a dynamic of a human experience where from your hard-fought, hard-won individual nature, you begin to reach out and reconnect with each other. Now, this will either happen through a process of external energy coming to you and forcing you at a certain point of having to make, what shall we say, more enlightened choices, more human choices. Or enough of you will be awake and encourage others to be awake, to say, we will make a choice, a logical, reasonable choice from our reasoning powers to come up with solutions, to be peacemakers and problem solvers, to realize that the platform of competition and comparison has taken you to the edge of the cliff. Will you step back and say there is another path? Or will you dive headlong? Because that dive headlong into the abyss will eventually lead you to enlightenment. With a great deal of kicking and screaming, of course. But the other way, the possibility of creation of a whole new paradigm by just realizing that there is time and space, and with the dynamic of reconnection, that there is enough for all, that you are enough, and there is enough for all. So, please check out the peacegenesisproject.org, along with our site, conversationswithSOTU.org, and begin to make the commitment to yourself to become that peacemaker, to become that problem solver. Forgiveness is a very powerful dynamic, dear ones. And we realize there is a great deal of rage and a great deal of anger. But this too can be transformed into a dynamic of a positive energy simply by expressing your outrage. Show courage, dear ones, the willingness to be wrong in the pursuit of what is right. We love you all so very, very much, and that has been our soliloquy for the day, for SOTUesday on the 9th day of May, 2017. We love you all so very, very much. And so until the next time, oh boy, do we have a treat for you with the upcoming interviews that we did yesterday. We did 2, and we will be putting one up this week and one up next week. So we hope that you will enjoy them. And so until then, we close. Sending you peace, sending you happiness, sending you joy.